Hello, welcome to the weather update. It is about 9:30. It is August 3rd, and we had kind of a day where we had pretty much a lot of high clouds around. Wasn't a bad day. Just wasn't a clear sky, and the sun was very filtered by these high clouds. It came out occasionally, but more or less it was mostly cloudy most of the day. This is what the lake looked like in Mill Pond, which is in Wantor. It's just over the border in Wantor. It's really more, to me, it's more like Belmore, but technically it's Wantor. But with that, and then we had, just this is pretty much the way the sky looked today. Just had all that cirrus around there. It was kind of pretty though at times, and then it actually made for a really nice sunset because whenever we have the cirrus come in, like we'll show you here, like this, the sun sets. Basically, the cirrus is over us, but to the west it's clear, so the sun actually comes up underneath the cirrus, and the sunset colors get reflected off the cloud deck. And whenever this happens, you always get a beautiful sunset, and this is what it looked like in Lynbrook. Of course, I was on the South Shore because, it's just too dangerous to go to many places in the middle of the island now. So if we look at our satellite image, you'll see here, again, what I'm talking about. So here's that stalled front that you see here, the stalled front, and it's the clouds riding along it. And you'll see, though, off to the west, it's mostly clear. So the sun's actually coming up underneath that, and I think what wound up happening today to give us that really nice sunset, we're going to pause it right here. You have a little bit of smoke over here, so that might have colored the sun a little bit, but you have the sun coming out underneath the clouds, because you got to remember, up high the sun hasn't set yet, and it actually illuminates the clouds as it's setting, and the colors just reflect off these high clouds, and that's how you can get a very nice sunset. So if you want to see really colorful sunsets, this is one tip that I urge you. When you have it set up like this, it'll really make for some nice sunsets. But you can see clouds firmly over us. You'll notice there is some smoke up around the Great Lakes area here. And we'll have to watch to see what's going to happen with that smoke as well. Going over our current conditions, and we will talk about the smoke a little later in this video. So right now, current conditions, not bad outside, fairly comfortable. Low 70s, dew points in the upper 50s to low 60s. A little more humid on the South Shore, and the dew points are a little higher probably just because you have that warm water. But other than that, temperature's fairly comfortable across the area. And West Hampton at 64. Yes, we will see what they got down to last night. 72 in the Park, 73 at LaGuardia, 70 JFK. And let's see, New Jersey, similar to, actually, once again, cooler in Toms River, 65 with the dew point 61 versus 71 in Carl Place. So, for some reason, yeah, it cools off more at night, but you'll notice Suffolk County has also cooled off too. So again, the less developed an area is, the more it will cool off. It's more developed. And even the South Shore Nassau doesn't cool off that much because it is kind of heavily developed as well. So let's go now to what the low temperatures were. We'll go to the minimum temperature first. We'll see what the lows were last night. Got down to 61 in Carl Place, got down to 64 at Farmingdale, 62 at Islip, 52 at West Hampton. So once again, cooler at West Hampton. Most areas were around the 60-degree mark. Of course, warmer in the city. 68 was the low at LaGuardia, 66 at JFK, 65 at the Park. And of course, we don't really have Miller Air Park here, unfortunately, but I do see a 56 at Lakehurst. So the Lakehurst is in the Pine Barrens too, so they get some radiational cooling, but it's a shame that Miller Air Park has been down for so long because they get some really low readings. It's very similar to West Hampton when it comes to their highs. So let's go to the high temperatures now for the day. And you will see across the area, 79 at Carl Place, 81 at Farmingdale, 81 at Islip, 81 at Shirley, 17. So fairly uniform. When we look at the conditions, 79, it's a very uniform conditions. And I'll just pull up Islip and you'll see. Well, we'll go to this section. We've got to go to this, and then we'll go to the station here. And we'll look at Islip here, and look at our historical observations here. So if you look at Islip, you will see here winds generally were northerly, but maybe a little bit of a sea breeze, but mostly north. Very slight and variable winds all day today. North, sometimes they were west-northwest, sometimes they were north, sometimes they were east-northeast, but not really that much of a marine influence, which is why the dew point stayed kind of low pretty much, unless you're right on the South Shore. You had fairly low dew points out there. So looking at the radar, you'll see again the stall front and the rain associated with it. Some of it hitting the Carolinas. And again, that is going to have a tendency to stay offshore, but we have a wave that is going to be riding up along this front. If we go to the Weather Prediction Center, you'll see here's your stall front. You're going to have this wave right over here. It's going to be riding up along it. Now, it's going to cause the front to buckle a little bit and throw some moisture our way, giving us maybe a slight chance of rain tomorrow. We're going to look at the models, and we're going to see what's going to happen with that. So let's go to the models here, and we will go and look and see what's happening. So here's your stall front. Here's the GFS. If we move that along, you can see this low, and actually some pretty substantial rains occurring in coastal North Carolina and maybe even parts of Virginia. You can see just offshore, there's some pretty heavy rain, and some of that may wind up brushing the eastern portions of our area, perhaps the east end of Suffolk County, the Twin Forks, as that wave of low pressure moves along the stall front. And then the front still remains, but it pushes off a little more to the east on Thursday, and then it moves even further to the east on Friday and gets on out of here. But then we start seeing this ridge pattern develop, as you know, as we get into the weekend here. However, this doesn't not look like, when I'm looking at this right now, I see a high over here, which would lead me to believe that that's not really you have to wait until I think later in the week before we start seeing that Bermuda high crank up the heat from the Gulf of Mexico as we get to the middle of next week. We'll see if the GFS is backed off on some of the heat, because if you go to News 12, for whatever reason, and I mean, I hate showing them on here, but if you go, well, you know, I'm not going to show them. They have only 80s next week. They don't even have it hitting 90. So it may just be Samantha Ojiri under forecasting for this. She always under forecast because she's forecast for the South Shore only, basically giving the kind of weather you have in places like Long Beach, where she completely disregards the middle of the island. But we'll have to see. Maybe she saw some changes in the model, so we'll see about that. But I'm still expecting that we're gonna have to deal with that heat next week. I would love the heat wave to be canceled, but I don't want to deal with any more of it. You know, it hasn't even been that hot of a summer. It's just don't like the heat. So let's go to the closer look at our area here, and we'll go to the HRRR, and I don't know how much of it we have, and we have 38 hours of it in. So this will actually give us enough. All right. So throughout the day tomorrow, you'll see this rain start moving a little closer to us, and it might brush parts of the Jersey Shore in the afternoon and parts of Suffolk County in the afternoon. It's fairly light, but you'll see it does brush along, and then there's some heavier rain that might wind up hitting. This is the HRRR, and actually it's a lot slower moving with this low, and still has some rain chances over us for the early part of Thursday. You can see some showers over Long Island there with this low pressure system moving along. All right, if we look at the total accumulated precip here so far, and this only goes out to 14, you can see not really a whole lot of rain for most of us. The only areas that would get more substantial rain, and there's a really sharp cutoff too, because most of these showers could be heavy, could be some thunderstorms, and you could see an inch of rain on the Forks now. That is the one part of Long Island that hasn't gotten as much heavy rain. July was well above normal with the rainfall, but not so much on the Forks. So this will be a chance for them to catch up, perhaps, and get some more rainfall. Let's go to the dew points. We'll go back and we'll look at the dew points on this as well. So it looks like the dew points stay fairly low tomorrow. You still see it's keeping that east to northeast flow over us. It has the dry air over us and keeping the dew points low for tomorrow. But you'll see that humidity starts coming flooding more on Thursday. Despite the fact that the wind is becoming more northeasterly, you actually have the dew points rising into the low and mid 60s, which is quite interesting. I don't know why the model is doing that, but that is what the model is doing, because it's pulling moisture up around this low pressure system, basically. If we go like this, it's pulling the humidity up from the tropics and then wrapping it around this low pressure system like that. All right, that's going to be forming along this front. So that's why it's probably going to be more humid on Thursday than it will be tomorrow. Let's go now look at our temperatures. So here's the HRRR temperatures, and you'll see probably not all that warm tomorrow with the cloud cover. We'll probably see similar levels of cloud cover, 70s, and you can see the temperature dropping toward the afternoon as we have thicker clouds and possibly some rain showers move in later in the day. And then Thursday, not really all that warm, but it only goes out to 14Z. So that's as much as we have for Thursday. We'd have to consult the GFS on that. So let's consult the GFS and see how the GFS handles this whole thing. So here's the GFS for tomorrow. It has it even cooler for tomorrow. And Thursday has it warmer. So by the afternoon, it's having the sun come out more because the GFS is a little more progressive with moving the system a little further to the east. So looking at the GFS here, you'll see it keeps most of the rain to the east, but it gets it out of here by Thursday. It doesn't really have any showers over us on Thursday. If we were to look at the total accumulated precip on the GFS, you can see it's fairly similar with its presentation to the HRRR, with the east end seeing possibly an inch or more, but it would just be the east end, while western areas, Nassau County, western Suffolk, and even much of New Jersey stays fairly dry with hardly any rain at all. And that is again the GFS's presentation on this. There is one more model I want to look at, and that is the NAM3. So let's go to the NAM3, the 18Z NAM3, and the NAM is a little different, as you see. Has the heavy rain belt a little more to the west, has it actually over central Suffolk, and actually delivers a lot more rain, over 2 inches of rain, in fact, because this is, again, tropical moisture that will be coming up, and that is going to produce some heavy rain. So I'm very interested to see what the NAM presentation looks like. Oh, wow, that is a lot more impressive. So the NAM is way more impressive with this, and has some really heavy showers and thunderstorms offshore. If this were to develop, we may get a good, it's going to, if this was a little later at night, I'd say you'd have a good heat lightning possibility. But you can see it really just creates a lot of soaking rain over the central part of Suffolk and part of Nassau County. And then this low kind of just rides right along it. So the NAM is really amplified with this. And then it pulls it on out for Thursday. So you can see we have this divergence in the models here. Again, so, and the European model, I believe, also is also has this divergence. I want to look at that too. Let me go to the windy.com site, which shows us the European model, and I want to see, because I have a feeling the European model will also be similar to this. So here's the European model for tomorrow, and you'll see here clouds. This is I guess this is where the rain is offshore, the heavier rain. Let's see if it's like the NAM, and it is. Yeah, the European and the NAM have a similar presentation and take that core of heavy rain and really soak Nassau and Suffolk County with some substantial rainfall overnight. And if we were to look at the precipitation amount, go to rain accumulation here. We could also look at this as well on the rain accumulation map. You'd see that really heavy soaking rain. This could cause some flash flooding. Look at that. It's almost like this low is like almost getting maybe some tropical characteristics to it as it moves away, which is kind of interesting if that were to happen. We'd have to look at the actual wind field on this. First, let's go to the rain accumulation. Next 3 days, and you can see it gives us a good amount of rain, 2 inches again, over 2 inches of rain. Again, New Jersey, not as much. But it still nicks New Jersey again. Basically, the Euro and the NAM are much further west than the other models with this axis of heavy rain and tropical moisture that come in. And I have a feeling if we were to look at the humidity, we would see also a... Let's see if we can... it doesn't show dew point. That's right. This one doesn't show dew point for whatever reason. Let's see. Hang on. I think there is a layer for dew point. Because I bet you the NAM, it brings in more humidity. Yeah, 64, it does bring in some more humidity. That definitely does. But that is some really impressive stuff going on there. So I want to go to wind gusts here. Oh, yeah, look at this. So here you go. Some of the winds in this storm could be pretty. Look at that, gusts to 54. Look at this. It's developing a tropical system just to our south. Look at that, wind gusts to 55 miles an hour. This is something that's going to have to be watched. And I just saw this. So it's the NAM and the Euro basically having this thing become some type of coastal tropical hybrid. And like I said, those winds are pretty impressive right there. This would be very bad for, this could cause damage and power outages and coastal flooding. So nobody's really talking about this. And like I said, I just saw this. I guess they're just not taking this model seriously. The Euro and the NAM seem to really crank this thing up quite a bit. I'm going to go to the NAM on the wind now, and I'm going to go to the NAM 12, and I want to look at the wind on this as well. So we can look at, again, we'll go to the 18Z run because that's all I have. Yeah, it brings some high winds, mainly over the eastern part of Suffolk County. But, yeah, we could be dealing with some power outages, coastal flooding. This could be a little surprise storm that nobody was really expecting, if the NAM and the Euro are right. There's a divergence, though. The HRRR doesn't think that's going to happen. So the HRRR is further east, and it's weaker, and it's generally a better short-range model. So you have to kind of decide, well, what's going to happen with these models? How are they going to, work this storm out? And I think that in order for us to actually look at that, we're going to have to look at some other parameters. So I want to go to the, I'm going to go back to the HRRR and look at we're going to go to the Ventu Sky, which actually shows the HRRR for tomorrow. And we can look at the actual wind here. And I'll just go to wind gusts here. And I'll move this to, actually, it's more like Thursday morning. So let's see. So you can see it has some fairly strong wind gusts offshore. But because the storm track is more offshore, we don't get into those wind gusts. But there could be some pretty strong storm, So yeah, this actually is showing some wind, but it's mostly a problem for offshore because again the track is further east than the NAM and the Euro. So you have this big difference here going on. So let's go back to the let's go to earthnullschool.net. I guess that'll be our next thing we can look at here. Let me go to earthnullschool.net, and we're going to look and see if our sea surface temperatures are above normal, because that's also a factor in this. What are the sea surface temperatures? Because if they are above normal, that's going to provide this storm with more energy. So let's go and look at that. I don't see huge anomalies here, which is good. I do see an anomaly over here, but that's too far east to affect us. So I don't really see huge anomalies here with these sea surface temperatures, at least according to this map here on the European model. So either way, the storm, we'll have to see what happens with the storm, but it will be out of here by later Thursday. So if we go back to the precipitation here, you'll see it's out of here by Thursday. And so Thursday we'll have a fairly maybe some showers lingering in the morning over the Forks, but other than that, it'll be dry. And then you can still see this front finally starts moving away on Friday. So, all that being said, let's now go back to the GFS, and we'll start looking at our temperatures and seeing when things are going to heat up. All right. So, obviously, Thursday, not too hot. Let's see, Friday, we start seeing things heat up, maybe near 90. Again, you're going to get that inlet land flow, less of an ocean influence. Weekend right now, it looks like 80s. Let's see. Sunday, near 90. Let's see, Monday. All right, it's backed off for Long Island on Monday, giving Long Island more of a sea breeze. I guess in New Jersey would be dealing with the 90s. What about Tuesday? It's doing the same thing, so it looks like it would be generating a sea breeze now. See, this is what I mean. This is what's going to make the big difference for next week. All right, so we go to dew points. It'll show the wind direction, and you'll see. I don't know. It looks kind of westerly. All right, Monday you have that southerly flow. All right. Tuesday though it goes more southwesterly, so that would lead to more of a southwesterly flow, which may make it warmer than that. I still think Samantha Ojiri is under forecasting once again, but you can see next week we're going to be dealing with a lot of humidity, and we don't know when we're going to get rid of the humidity once we're in it. We're going to be stuck in it for a while. All right, so enjoy the drier, more comfortable conditions you have, because once that humidity starts re-entering the picture, Friday still doesn't look too bad with the humidity, but as we get into Saturday, you'll start seeing the humidity start creeping up, and I still see that westerly flow, which concerns me. All right, so we're a ways off, but this is still a setup for some substantial heat next week. And You know, if I was making a long-range forecast right now, I would at least have upper 80s, because I know she's going to forecast for ice slip, so upper 80s at least. But to have just mid-80s is just too low. She always lowballs the temperatures. But you know how I feel about Samantha Ojuri, but some people, they don't like that, my opinion of her. Because, again, a certain demographic loves her. Again, they're on the South Shore. They love that they have a weather person that gives them a forecast just for their area. You know, while the rest of us are just ignored. You can see some of this tropical humidity, too, with this. So we'll have to see if the storm gets energized in the tropical humidity or not. So now let's go to the skies, and we'll look at the cloud map. You see, we're going to be stuck in the clouds tomorrow, high clouds. Thursday, we might actually be able to get rid of the clouds, western areas, perhaps Jersey. Friday looks like it could be a mostly sunny day, but we're going to have to look at that smoke chart, because I feel I'm going to be dealing with some of that smoke here. Saturday, plenty of clouds, and Sunday, I'm not going to even go beyond that, because once that hot air comes, you know it's going to be hazy. So let's go to the NAM cloud map, go to the 18Z, and you will see, again, plenty of clouds tomorrow, and I think they'll be thicker. Probably because, especially with the NAM, if we go to mid-level, it's going to show mid-level clouds too. So they're going to be thicker. You're probably not going to see the sun all that much. So probably a good mid-high deck, not that many low clouds. But the low clouds will come in later on with that rain. So let me just go back to the total cloud, and we'll move this along here. We look at Thursday, and you see that same kind of setup where the clouds are mainly over Long Island, where it's clear off to the west in Jersey. Perhaps they'd have a mostly sunny day. And then Friday, I think we'll all see more sunshine. We can also look at the RGM for clouds as well. Here is the RGM for tomorrow. Similar deal. And you can see, again, it's actually RGM's a lot slower to get rid of the clouds for the western areas and keeps them around. And it wouldn't be until Friday till we'd actually have mostly sunny skies. So now that we've looked at that, let's now go to the smoke model and look and see what we got here. And I'm glad we have the 0Z HRRR. So let's go to the vertically integrated smoke and see what will be coming our way. And we'll load this up. So right now, not dealing with a whole lot of smoke here. Let's see how many days. I don't know. We don't have that many hours of this yet, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to pick an older model because it's not really giving us a whole lot of hours. It's only giving us until early tomorrow morning. So I'm going to have to go to the we'll go to the 18Z model. All right. Because that is a longer model. So let's go to the HRRR vertically integrated smoke again and get this to work. So it seems like it's okay. It keeps most of the smoke away from us. Right into 4th, 5th. We're going right into the 5th. No smoke. Right into the 5th. So tomorrow and Thursday, we shouldn't really be dealing with too much smoke. Again, the smoke is mainly being kept off to the west. It's kind of being blocked, but you can see all the smoke out west, though. That's still being generated, and we still have a lot of these fires going. I'm going to now go to the MODIS or EOSTUS Worldview satellite so you can take a look at all the smoke. And there it is. So, again, plenty of smoke out there. Fortunately, we're not dealing. We will eventually have to deal with it eventually. I have a feeling you could still see these fires going in Northern California, Oregon, British Columbia, Canada, all this stuff. Look at all that smoke. So it's just all around. Everywhere you go, there's smoke. Look, this is Siberia. Look at that. That is unbelievable. It's from these fires right here. So you have lots and lots of fires burning, and this smoke's actually making it all the way. Yep, there it is, all the way into the Arctic Circle. So that is really going to. This is going to get deposited on the ice and darken it and cause it more melting. I really think we're going to set a new record low sea ice minimum this year. There's also been a lot of melting in Greenland, too. But I'm going to talk about that in another weather update. We got enough to deal with this coastal storm that we are going to be watching for. So I want to thank you for watching this weather update. Take care and have a good night.